Grandma.
Dear Bro.
Dear Cousin Robbie.
Dear Uncle Chuck.
Dear Matt.
Dear Sister.
Dear Grandma and Grandpa.
Dear Mom.
This was the hardest trip I've ever been on.
It was difficult. We went through sandstorms, mountains, and creeks.
We started at Independence, Missouri.
We got 1,000 pounds of food for supplies, 6 oxen, 10 pairs of clothes. They were mostly rags, and other supplies which added up to $550.
When we got started in Independence, Missouri, we spent $430, a lot of money, but it was because of food, clothes, and oxen.
I'm glad we brought our cow along because we got butter, milk, and cheese along the way.
I think the worst part was night, in my opinion. The nights were cold and windy. My toes almost froze to ice.
On the way here, we saw a frog. Sarah and I hopped and giggled with the silly little frog till nightfall, and now the frog is her pet.
I had a lot of fun adventures on the way. One of my favorite adventures along the trail was seeing the open lands where the animals could roam.
When we crossed the Great Plains, we saw fields, animals, rivers, lakes, and a lot more cool things. I was happy. When we reached the west, everything was different. There were dry deserts, sharp mountains, not enough water, and dusty air.
I got to drive the wagon. I'm not a good driver. It was an adventure going through the Great Plains.
On the Great Plains, we have to use buffalo chips to power our fire. It smells really bad.
I'm going to learn how to cook over the fire. It's nerve-wracking.
I cooked a bunch because I'm awesome at cooking. I did all the chores.
On our way, we found oxen and horses that had been left behind, so we took them with us.
On the trip, we learned about the Native Americans. We learned what they lived in, like teepees and wigwams. It was so cool.
We will pick up a rock and we will stand in a circle and we will toss the stone around.
The sun was beating hot. I got a bad sunburn on my arms and legs. I didn't feel well because I had a high fever and was really hot and sweaty.
Traveling in a hot wagon is not fun.
Hey, could you give me some tips on stuff like snake bites, wounds, and sicknesses?
My sister got a disease, and we just got to a fort in time to get her cured. I was very scared.
Our whole family went to Fort Kearny, and what we did is let the fear of the Indians go by us. It was round and wooden. It was like a house, but it had everything you need to live with.
They traded out tired horses with fresh and rested horses.
In the first week of June, we got to Courthouse Rock.
Courthouse Rock is beautiful. I think you would love it here.
When we arrived at Chimney Rock, my mom said we were about halfway. This made us happy.
In June, we stopped at Chimney Rock, and the name says it all. It looked like a gigantic chimney. The only thing missing was some smoke.
At Chimney Rock, I carved my name the highest.
I almost lost my cat. I had to go back a ways. I found him in a bush, though. It was scary. One of my favorite places along the way was Scotts Bluff.
Pa told me that it was 800 feet tall and it was formed by water.
It was 800 feet tall and made out of mass sandstone and clay. It had the same eroding hills as Chimney Rock and Courthouse Rock. When we got there, the people were hunting for buffalo.
We passed Fort Laramie in the 4th week of June. It was close to the edge of Wyoming. We got new outfits. They were really heavy. They were bison pelts. I was happy because they kept us warm. We traded $5 per outfit.
That is one big rock. We got there around the 4th of July.
When we got to Independence Rock on the 4th of July, it meant that we would most likely get to the Rockies before the winter.
I was really happy when we made it to South Pass. It is the unofficial border of the Oregon Territory. I also wrote some haiku poems that I'm really anxious to tell you.
They're about a stream in Wyoming and her wagon train. Yucky, mucky, cool. Super awesome to play in. I feel super free. And now the one about the wagon train. Wagon train so big, super long and awesome. Take me to Oregon.
I was bored along the way. I learned how to knit, cook, and make wooden animals.
During our trip, we cooked on a wood stove. The food smelled terrible, but tasted great.
The food we had to eat was gross. It was all dried and preserved. The only thing I didn't get sick of was the dried meat.
Getting food on the trail is much different from buying food at a store. We hunted and we fished. When we stopped in Wyoming, we saw a trading post. I was so happy that the trading post was here. My favorite place was Fort Bridger. It was a trading post place. It was really awesome. We traded a piece of fur for a hat for my mother.
Half through our journey, we stopped at Fort Hall. It had clay walls painted white.
We stopped at a fur trading post called Fort Hall. Ma traded all these fancy jewels and jingles and got mountains of cash. And got me a whittling knife.
Did I tell you our wagon's wheel was bent? It was so bumpy I felt sick.
We had to cross the Snake River to get to Oregon City. We had to fill the cracks in the wagon with sap so none of the water would leak.
I used the money on the trip to buy a raft to cross the river.
Another place we went through was the Barlow Gate that we had to pay to move on the road. I was worried because we were low on money.
The Dales are so cool since it's a Methodist mission. The Methodists gave us free food and a place to stay. We also have a great view of the Columbia River.
We have reached our destination, Oregon City. I am very glad that you couldn't come.
I just entered Oregon City. It's beautiful.
We have finally reached Oregon City. I'm very excited to see the land tomorrow.
I think Oregon City is really amazing. It has so much land. It's also full of mountains and trees. Oh, the wonderful trees.
We just got to Oregon. I'm super happy because tomorrow we're going to get a house.
I made new friends. 2 girls around my age. 1 boy is a little older than us.
I get very lonely and the farm is too dangerous for me to wander out alone.
At first I was sad because I missed my old home, but now I love it here.
We are so happy. We are looking forward to starting our new lives.